This is Dolynny TV, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon and welcome back to another edition of Edmonton Oilers discussion here on the channel today. And friends, we got some good news out of the Edmonton Oilers today. A nice little interview with Dylan Holloway that kind of spoils when we're going to get back to business this end of summer. I can't say fall because we actually have to wait a few more weeks into September for that. But we'll get to that in a matter of moments, friends. As well, today I'm going to share a couple of thoughts that I've shared with some friends recently about the goaltending situation going into next year. And of course, we'll discuss kind of all about that Dylan Holloway interview. Before we get there, though, if you are new to Dolynny TV, I would love to have you aboard as a subscriber here on the channel. Obviously, I'm going to tell you when we're going to get going full throttle here. So you're going to want to get ahead of the curve and don't miss the train. All right, so what do we know? Well, today, randomly, Dylan Holloway's at the Edmonton Oilers Hockey School, pops up and does a 6-minute interview with Oilers TV. It's posted to the Oilers social media channels, whether Twitter, whether it be YouTube, whether it be wherever you need to find it. You can find it today. Dylan Holloway kind of starts talking just about his interaction with kids, his importance in the community and stuff like that. Then kind of talks about what he's doing during the off season to get prepared for next year, what he's learned from last year, and kind of when things are going to get geared up here in 23-24. So the reason we're focusing on this today, right, this is really not a big breaking news video by any means from the Edmonton Oilers, but there is something quite powerful to draw from there, right? When you've got a rookie, younger guy, whatever you want to call Dylan Holloway, talking about when he's reporting to Edmonton ahead of training camp, right? We know training camp won't be for a couple of days, weeks after, but you've got Dylan Holloway saying he will be in Edmonton to start skating with team members, teammates, whatever you want to say, on September 1st or September 2nd. So the Oilers, right, would kind of give us an idea now of when captain skates will be taking place. I'd expect the captain skates probably start up that Friday, which I think is, if I'm not mistaken here, my apologies, I had the calendar up a moment ago. Captain skates would probably start somewhere on the 30th, 31st, 1st, 2nd, right? That's kind of that timeline. Dylan Holloway's planning on being there the last 2 days of that kind of window that I just gave you. So Connor McDavid probably getting things started on Wednesday, August 30th or thereabout for the 23-24 season. So that's really exciting. Right now, all of a sudden, you talk about it, we are 5 weeks away from the NHL season getting up and running for us technically, right? I always talk about the captain skates being the start of the season for me, right? That's when your first injuries come out. That's when your first bits of news come out. That's when, hey, okay, you know what? Ryan McLeod signed his contract and changed his number without any of us knowing. That's when all that kind of stuff starts coming out a little bit too. So we'll see what happens for the Oilers this season in the captain skates. You might remember last year it was Vinny Desharnais hurting himself. That's why he was delayed getting to the NHL this past season. He would have been in the NHL had he not been injured, and as well kind of forced the necessity with the Cody Ceci injury of the Jason Demers PTO that we saw, then the subsequent couple of things that happened there for him afterwards, and of course skating in game number 700. So captain skates, they have ramifications all the way to pretty much the end of the season, as we saw this past year for the Edmonton Oilers. Dylan Holloway kind of spoiling when that window might open up there a little bit. I'd say earliest the 30th, probably the latest the 2nd, if Dylan Holloway is planning on being back in Edmonton skating with his teammates on September 1st, September 2nd. So that is huge news today. Obviously, not groundbreaking news by any means, but in the middle of summer, July 27th, it's the biggest news you're going to find on a random Thursday afternoon. Now, Dylan Holloway, to speak a little bit more on what he spoke about in his interview, he talked about kind of the mental side of the game, goal setting, and as well kind of investing in better nutrition, investing in better sleep regimen, right? All the regular things that professional, right? He's not an amateur by any means, but professional athletes like Connor McDavid, like your Nathan McKinnons, your Sidney Crosbys have invested and talked about for years, right? That, like, you talk about the superhuman kind of situations these guys put themselves through to perform at the highest level. That's kind of the beginning steps that I think Dylan Holloway is starting to take. Obviously, very good guy to have under contract, because you got Connor McDavid kind of teaching him the ropes, and obviously this is a guy we have high hopes for. But it's kind of one of those things. It's nice to see Dylan Holloway talking about that, because right now he's talking, this is what I learned last year, this is what I need to change this year, this is what I'm hoping to do this year, or this upcoming year. And there really wasn't much from Dylan Holloway in terms of talking about next year, right? What he hopes to do. He kind of deflected away almost immediately as soon as the question was asked, what's your goals for next year? It was kind of, no, I'm a goal-setting person, but I'm not going to tell you nothing. That's kind of fun to see, because I think you'll kind of start trickling that out in training camp based on how Dylan Holloway is looking to play. And as much as it seems like a given that Dylan Holloway will be a member of the Oilers this year from the word go, there is obviously the cap casualty situation too. Dylan Holloway makes $925 against the cap. If the Oilers get squeezed in McLeod, Bouchard, you still can send Dylan Holloway down. He's still kind of situational to the AHL. So there is a potential there for the Oilers to kind of move around and do the things they have to make the dollars work by bringing in a $775 deal. So again, you're hurting a little bit based on the McLeod Bouchard deal, and you would hate to see that affect Dylan Holloway. So seeing him out there today talking to Oilers TV gives me a good feeling that that situation is unlikely to happen. However, it's still an open possibility till proven otherwise. But that said, that's enough about Dylan Holloway. I mean, if you want to go watch the interview and get the full sense of it, you can, right? Again, you want to watch a young hockey player do an interview for 6 minutes, be my guest. I've done enough of those interviews myself. I know what I'm going to get into, and that's kind of the fun part about watching some of these interviews. It's like, yep, I've gotten that answer before. But no, Dylan Holloway definitely did give some good kind of thorough thought into answering some of the questions today, and just kind of, I say some because of the deflection on the goal setting, but it was definitely nice to see him kind of bantering back and forth with Oilers TV as well. But to get to my kind of chatter there, I said right off the hop, some of my thoughts on the Oilers goaltending is, I've had this discussion with a few people over the course of the past 2-3 weeks. I've got kind of little hotbeds of Oilers fans down here that I know, and it's kind of really awesome because you get to run the gamut, right? As much as you and I and everybody on here run the gamut of Oilers fans from this side to this side to this side to this side, guess what? I have that down in my life here in Southern Alberta. So the best part about it is everybody has an opinion, everybody has a theory, everybody has an idea, everybody has something that they want to talk about when it comes to the Oilers. And something that I think we've talked about a lot down here in Southern Alberta over the course of the summer is the fact that the goaltending is a huge question mark, but technically you can't do much worse, right? And this is kind of a double-edged sword, because Stuart Skinner can take massive steps back in the regular season and kind of hurt us, but Jack Campbell can't possibly do worse. Can he? That ends with a question mark, because just when you think it's bad in Edmonton, it gets worse. That's always the way it seems to go. But in my thoughts and conversations with a lot of people over the past few weeks about the Oilers goaltending is Jack Campbell simply cannot do worse. Jack Campbell will improve. Now the only question mark is, will he rack up as many wins because of it, right? Will he rack up more wins because of it? That becomes a question, because Jack Campbell's record was actually pretty stellar last year despite terrible numbers, right? If you look record to terrible numbers, Jack Campbell got bailed out of some very sticky situations over the course of the season with the Oilers. You think about the home opener last year, that debacle against the Canucks that the Oilers were able to win. Yeah, it kind of makes sense, right? You kind of see it come together for Jack Campbell and all that. But just to give you an idea of the records, I want to pull this up right now just because it's important. This is the playoffs, so that's not by any means useful to me, unfortunately. But yeah, I guess the Sportsnet app just doesn't have regular season stats, I don't need to worry about it. But Jack Campbell can obviously be better. He had 20 plus wins. I think he can still put up 20, 30 wins for us next year with better numbers. Stuart Skinner, I think everybody thinks he's going to regress because of the sophomore thing. I don't think that's necessarily true because he regressed in the playoffs. That's my only argument there, is he regressed heavily in the playoffs. So I'd expect that with that extra learning curve, right, that extra failure of time, he should be able to kind of project better next season. But I'd almost expect kind of Stuart Skinner to have Jack Campbell's season. You know what? He wins lots of games, but he still has terrible numbers. Or else his numbers just slightly improve, but the win-loss doesn't change much, right? Like, there will be subtle changes and nothing really changes year to year, or it's a drastic reset in terms of goals against and save percentage, but the wins go because the Oilers are just powerhouse, firehouse kind of offense that scores a ton of goals, gives up some bad goals, and they win hockey games anyway. That's kind of where my thoughts are on the goaltending right now. I don't know if that's necessarily in line with many other people right now, but I think Jack Campbell simply can't do worse, so he'll do better. Will the wins be there? Hopefully. And I think still he can win 30 games, and I think the hope would be, if Stuart Skinner's going to regress, that Jack plays more games because he's playing better, plays 55, wins 30. Stuart Skinner wins his 15. We're a 45, 49 win hockey team again, and away you go. That's kind of the idea. Friends, I'm Tyson, this is Dolynny TV. Thanks for listening to me ramble today. That's really all this was, right? I was able to make an excuse to do a video because the Oilers did a video, so I'm glad for that. It's July 27th. It's raining. That's why I'm also down here. It's not 27, sunny, and ball game time in an hour's time. So I will catch you tomorrow if there's any news. Obviously still waiting on Ryan McLeod, but we'll see what happens there. Friends, I am up on out of here. Enjoy your Thursday afternoon, because guess what? Tomorrow, Friday. And guess what Friday is? I like this one. I don't know if this guy would be watching the video, but Friday is 5 Hour Friday. All right, if you're new to 5 Hour Friday, I'll tell you about 5 Hour Friday. 5 Hour Friday, you, me, and everybody, we have to work 8, 10, 12, 16 hours a day. But 5 Hour Friday, especially if it's your last day before the weekend, you put in 5 hours of work over your shift. It's amazing. It's an incredible idea. Unfortunately, I can't do it. All right, I will claim, because I know who watches my videos. I can't do it because simply that's just not fathomable. But for those of you that can put in 5 hours tomorrow, no matter what your shift length is, go get it done. Enjoy 5 Hour Friday, and we'll come out the better side of it Friday afternoon as we sit down to talk Oilers again tomorrow. I am up on out of here now. This time, bye-bye.